some well-known media publications such as Forbes and Harvard Business Review are starting to emerge with the new hiring trend called skills first hiring. What are your views on this trend, and will this be quickly adopted by companies in Indonesia? Please, Pak Erick.
Talk about the senior high schools, right, the vocational schools, although they are meant to create people who have specific competencies, but what they are lacking is that these competencies are not being updated.
But something in common is perhaps, I think, that the company have to prepare to receive all those type of people.
Podcast Nusantara adalah persembahan dari Nusantara Data Center Academy yang memiliki visi untuk menumbuhkan talenta digital yang berkompeten di dalam industri data center.
Okay, Pak Erick, so do you think that larger companies or institutions will have harder time to adopt agile learning and development?
I am of the opinion that, whatever the size of the organization itself, be it large, medium, or even small, or even micro, the change that is going to happen to adopt the rapid development of technology is not coming from the technology. It's coming from the people running that organization. But I think most importantly is decision actually make things happen. So when the people who has the stake in that particular organization understand that they have to make the decision to move forward and adopt the necessary technology to get their business ahead or to get their organizations ahead. Not only because I would say that there's no such technology whereby it's one size fits all. In my experience, every organization is unique in their own way, and they have to be able to identify where are the growth areas that they want to go to, which way or which path that they want to take. And in order to take this path and to achieve these growth areas, which technology would be the most suitable for them. So I have seen a lot of organizations compare each other. In the process, the executive says that, okay, company A is doing this, I have to do this as well in order to get ahead. But as I mentioned, every organization or company situation is different. And we have to take one step back to see whether our people is ready, whether we have the required maybe supporting technology, maybe supporting infrastructure, and also whether we have the supporting environment, including the partners, the stakeholders. A lot of times, when a company wants to adopt a certain major technology changes, what they think about is themselves. Okay, we have to do this. So let's say the executive team, the CEO, CFO decided that, okay, this is something that we are going to enforce, but they neglected the fact that the surrounding ecosystem, who is the surrounding ecosystem? The surrounding ecosystem is not ready. Who are they? The customers are not ready, because the customers that they serve are not technology savvy. The second one, the partners that they are working with. It might also that they don't have the proper technology, they don't have the proper people. So I've seen organizations who adopt great technologies, but they have difficulties in actually rolling out those technologies internally because all the surrounding stakeholders are not really fitting to the situations. So I would say that it depends from one organization to another. But if the question is the agile concept, is it applicable? I would say it's applicable. At least do the changes first in a certain department, right? And then see whether what kind of success stories would be able to be derived from such practice, and then whether the executive team wants to roll out this initiative to the other departments. And usually the success story could be passed on, to the surrounding environments, saying that, okay, we have done this, we have successfully do this, and then if you also do this, this would become a collective benefits for all of us. So I think if the executive team comes from that approach and also realize that, okay, this is what the assets that we have, the assets that we don't have, and this is something that we can do in order to achieve this, I think that should be a good roadmap to start with.
Okay. Thank you so much. So let's circle back a little to our vocational schools counterparts. So for them, what can be done internally to further develop the skills of their students and then externally promote the skills of their graduates to the industry? Perhaps Pak Erick first.
Okay. I think the schools have to open themselves, also being assisted by, let's say, how do you call the Dinas Pendidikan in English? So each region,
Education agency, regional education agency.
Provinces has their own Dinas Pendidikan, right? See, the education agencies, they have to support this type of programs to happen. And specifically the schools, they have to understand that this type of programs or activities brings more benefits, because then more graduates are being created to be able to support the industry, right after schools. So I think that's one. The second thing is that regulation matters as well. These the supporting regulations have to be there, and also the schools itself can, when they want to promote, they should have a collection of success stories from different programs that they are undergoing at the moment with different industry partners, and then promote that to either to the regional level and to the national level. So from my experience, a lot of provincial governments, let's say, they are trying to promote also the economic power in their regional stance. Yeah. So vocational schools that understand that this is something that they can use as a promotion platform would be able to harness, I would say, more industry partners to come to them. And also the schools itself is they would have, so if we talk about vocational schools gets accreditations. So their accreditations comes from the ability to be able to partners and also to conduct different vocational programs in the making, and how many graduates do they create in the process. So I think when we come back to the question, the school itself has to open themselves more and then be able to select which programs, which partners are able to create more impacts to the schools and to their graduates.
Okay. Pak Ashwin, what do you think?
What vocational schools in Indonesia can do, right?
Yes.
Well, I think, first of all, the top management of the schools and also the teachers should be able to change themselves first. Then they can change the school, how the school look at their ecosystem. Now, change yourself and then change the school in accordance accordingly to the ecosystem. Now, if I mention ecosystem, that is very large word, you see, very large. It has a very large meaning. If you are a school in ICT industries, for example, then perhaps the skill you need is related to ICT. But how if you are a school in a farming area? Perhaps it is smart farming which is important, not designing what you electric circuits, for example. So you have to be able to adapt your schools to the ecosystem around you that you can reach and you can develop according to your capabilities. Now that is one thing. And secondly, the school itself should be able to, as Pak Arief mentioned, to promote themselves, quote unquote, to promote themselves to in their ecosystem. That can be through the success stories, as Pak Erick mentions, success stories of their capacities. Their success stories can be put in the social media, can be put in the news, can be put in the, webinar and many things. And also you can also follow various competitions, award, for example, that kind of things which is can be shown to your surroundings. Mm-hmm. Your success stories with industry can be shown also to others. So I think that is important how vocational school in Indonesia should be able to change and then show how good they are by showing their success stories in this field.
All right, okay.
Halo para pemirsa setia podcast Nusantara. Nusantara Data Center Academy bersama dengan DCD Academy UK akan menghosting event Nusantara Data Center and Cloud Summit di J-Expo Kemayoran pada tanggal 10-12 Agustus 2023. Kami akan menghadirkan berbagai sesi seperti konferensi, B2B meeting, exhibition, data center tour, dan networking event. Untuk info registrasi sebagai eksibitor dan sebagai visitor, Anda bisa cek langsung di website ndcc-summit.com. Salam Unity.
Pak Erick, so currently you are also developing Nusantara Data Center Academy, which is trying to resolve worker shortages in the data center industry. Can you provide some insights on the challenges that your colleagues in the data center industry have been facing, such as worker shortages, lack of skills in the field, and then the absence of standardization among workers, or perhaps the scarcity of relevant certification?
Okay, so I think first of all, Nusantara Data Center Academy is a sub-academy that is created under the Nusantara organization, recognize that there is a huge gap happening specifically in the data center industry, whereby the industry is growing so fast for the past 6-7 years, but we are lacking of the supply of competent digital talent which has professional certifications. So what I mean by professional certifications, we have two types of professional certification. The first one is for the people who are already working for different data center establishment in Indonesia. Most of them comes from an engineering background, but they don't have the specific knowledge and also practical experience or the flying hours in that particular industry. So what's happening is that while the industry is growing here, the number of talents growth is here. So more and more we see the gap is widening. Mm-hmm. So what's happening in the past 6-7 years is that the number of data center operators are keep increasing. I think the data shows in 2025, 2026, the total megawatts in Indonesia in terms of data center power is going to be double. The number of data center players are going to be double. But do we have double capacity of the talents supporting the industry? I doubt that. That's the first one. So when we come back to the professional certification, I mentioned about the people already working in the data center industry. Are they certified? Certified means that they know for doing this type of job or to deliver the data center is a mission critical industry. Do they have the specific knowledge and are they certified? So the second one is for the upcoming workers for the data center industry. How do we certify them, or how do we prepare them with specific certifications, so when they are out in the job market, what they learn could be applicable directly in their job. So I think this is a huge issue that we have in the national data center space. So I think the second thing when we talk about data center is that the most pressing issue that we have right now is hijacking. So when new data centers are coming up, the new establishment, because they could not find the talents, what they have is that they just hijack from other competitions or from the industry, right? And then this creates a big problem, because we don't necessarily create the stream of new talents, but we increase the pay gap that is happening in the industry, because more and more people are being placed in a position whereby there's no one there, but because we need them to be there, we pay them higher, right? That's one, hijacking. Third one is that for us to be able to fill the positions required, then we start to, quote unquote, import people from overseas to be able to deliver the job. And mostly it's on either the middle management or the top management side. So that's something that we recognize happening on the operator side. So what about the consulting side? So there are a lot of data center consultants in Indonesia, but these consultants, let's say, we pick a special consultant area. Let's say we pick power or electricity. There are a lot of electricity consulting companies, but most of them will not be able to participate in projects that deliver a build-up of new data center facilities from overseas, right? So that's a big issue. So let's talk about the vendors or the suppliers who are supplying. The vendors itself, most of the people working in this industry, they know only about my product. They don't know about what's happening in the industry. They don't know, okay, how is a proper data center should be designed, should be operated, and should be maintained, because they know only about my product, right? So I think a lot of challenges are happening in this industry because the growth is so rapidly happening, but nothing is being done. So I think if we refer to, I think the first podcast of Nusantara Academy, there was also a discussion whereby there's currently no particular education institution in Indonesia who is preparing this. And this is why we are doing this.
Okay. So, Pak Ashwin, we have just listened Pak Erick's comments on the challenges in the data centers, workforce challenges. So, is the government and industry associations also paying attention to this issue? Could the talent shortage issue become a barrier for foreign investment in Indonesia and reduce Indonesia's competitiveness index compared to neighboring countries?
That's what, Pak Erick have a very deep knowledge in this field, you know. I didn't have that, but I have my history.
Okay.
You see, what Pak Erick mentioned has been experienced by our country for so many years. When we transform our analog telecommunication to digital telecommunications, we have the same problem.
Okay.
When we transform our telecommunication from terrestrial using satellites, we have the same problem. Suddenly we have a big Earth station. How can we operate that big stations? How can you operate telecommunication switching, which was previously analog and perhaps some sort of electromechanical, suddenly using a software? We need a lot of talents. We need a lot of new talents in that field. Now, I think what we learn from our experience cannot be implemented here. The answer is, for me, is very simple. Because Indonesia is very big. This is the job for the multi-stakeholders of Indonesia. Not only the government, not only the students, but every institutions. We call it basically the well-known is ABCGM, the academicians, the business sides, the communities, the government, and also the media. Everybody has to work together. If we can do that in many years ago, I'm sure we can do that here. But not only, don't ask it, okay, only hope Mr. Government can do that alone. No. I think everybody has to do it.
Yeah.
Pak Erick has done it in Nusantara Academy, but Nusantara Academy is only Pak Erick. We have 230 million people, I don't know how many thousand islands, I do not know. 17,000 islands. So, I mean, this is a nice big country, you see. So all multi-stakeholders should work together. And history have also shown that by doing that, we can overcome the problem. So in this case, for data center, because you mentioned data center, right?
Yeah.
I think we have to do that again. Now, don't forget regarding data center, that the president himself has ordered through a presidential decree to set up the so-called national data center.
Yeah.
Now, if a data center like this needs so many talents, how a natural data center like this?
Yeah.
What kind of talents you need?
Yeah.
So you cannot ask one ministry only to look after this problem. You have to make sure that it is a problem for the whole country, for the multi-stakeholder of this country.
Yeah.
So I think by working together, I'm sure we can overcome the problem, but not only one Nusantara Academy.
Yeah.
You need so many universities, you need so many organizations, you have so many LSP. Professional certification institutions.
Yeah.
You have association, you have companies. Companies can set up their these talents in their corporate universities. You know,
Yeah.
many big companies, state-owned enterprise have corporate universities. Telkom has their corpu, Mandiri has their corpu.
Yeah.
Set it up there. It is a joint effort that can overcome the problem.
Well, okay. I hope that Pak Ashwin's comments can reach the minister and also the president of
I think
Indonesia.
it's also in the history, you know. So many people know that I'm a bit senior, a bit more senior than Pak Erick. So I experience how we have difficulties when we have to look after a big satellite Earth station. You see, I said, what is this? Very big antenna. How can we manage that? How can you move it? It's difficult at the first time, but after that we can do that.
All right then. So coming back to Pak Erick, what are Nusantara Academy specific plans to help resolve the digital talent shortage issue? Surely a problem of this magnitude cannot be solved alone. How does Nusantara Academy collaborate with other stakeholders to collectively address this issue?
The second one is the vocation or academy path. So vocation and academy path is something that we are developing right now ourselves, collaborating with different stakeholders in the industry.
All right then. So Pak Erick, what skills are currently in high demand according to your colleagues in the private sectors?
This is important because if you use the train many years ago, the train is not so, it's not so nice as it is today.
Yes.